Hey folks, are you considering purchasing a small camper like the Tab 400 by nuCamp RV as a way to beat the pandemic blues? Well, I purchased one 2 years ago as a newbie camper, and I'm going to tell you what I think about the Tab 400 right now. Hey folks, thanks for joining. I'm Jim. This is the Old Coot Camper Station, and today I'm going to tell you about my experience with the Tab 400 as a newbie camper. I've owned it now for 2 seasons. I didn't know anything about camping before, and I'm going to tell you what I don't like about it. I'm going to tell you what I like about it. I'm going to tell you what I changed and would I purchase the Tab 400 again. So let's start with the dislikes. First dislike is the tongue weight. Again, I have the 2019 version of the Tab. That's important because they do change things from year to year. They listen to their customers. And it's just a heavy tongue weight. It's 465 pounds on a 3,500 fully loaded camper. I thought I knew what I was doing. I did a lot of research on tongue weight and calculations and all that kind of stuff. And quite frankly, I still screwed up. I needed a vehicle that would not only tow the camper, but was also my wife's all-around day-to-day driving vehicle, so she wasn't going to buy a big pickup truck. We ended up choosing the Toyota Highlander. In all regards, an excellent vehicle. It was rated for 5,000 pounds of towing with a 500-pound tongue weight. At the end of the day, that was not enough. It did turn out that I needed a weight distribution hitch. I did not think that air shocks or other type of shocks would actually solve my issue of the front end rising significantly when I hitched up. I looked like a flying V. I ended up going with a weight distribution hitch, which is not unusual, by the way, but the size of the weight distribution hitch, which I elected to go with, maybe it was overkill, probably ended up that the weight of the receiver plus the weight of the tongue on the nuCamp Tab 400 exceeded 500 pounds. That means that I could not put really any cargo in the back of that Highlander. And at the end of the day, I realized that that vehicle was not powerful enough to actually take me where I wanted to go, which ultimately is a camping trip out into the Rockies and out west to visit some of my relatives. So I ended up buying a Ford F-150, plenty big vehicle, but the truth of the matter is I ended up buying 2 vehicles when I only thought I would need 1. You could say I made a fairly big mistake monetary-wise. I'm going to put a link down below and a card up above. I have a whole video on the trouble with towing and my tribulations with that. So tongue weight was a big issue. My advice to you is know your vehicle's limitations. Tow with the vehicle that is rated well above the tongue weight and the total weight of your camper. Be safe. The other thing I don't like is the freshwater drain valve. It is not a freshwater drain valve. It is a freshwater leak valve. It takes forever to drain. If you've got a full tank of gas, you could drive from New York to LA, I swear, and still have water left in that freshwater tank. I won't go into details, but let's just say I needed to drain my tank very quickly a couple of weekends ago when I was camping in a below freezing condition. Ended up, burning out my water pump. You can send me a message if you're interested in how I did that. But yeah, the freshwater drain is a little bit problematic for me, but you know, both of those things are probably newbie mistakes, right? Bought the wrong vehicle, burned out my water pump, those are on me. The Dinette Table is problematic from the standpoint it's so darn heavy. I don't mind the shape, don't mind the size, but they used a solid core table. I don't know how much it weighs, but it is a Tony Horton P90X workout. You're grunting, you're groaning, you're sweating to try to move that from the upper position to the lower position. Should have made a lighter table. The cooking smoke is also an issue. I don't know that there's anything nuCamp really could do about this. The interesting thing is when you cook inside, and I don't do that very often, you raise the backsplash over the burners. That actually prevents the cooking smoke from going out that big window, even if you've got that window open all the way. And even if you have the fan sucking the air out, the fantastic fan on the ceiling, the smoke still gets in there. just know that every time I'm cooking, I actually take the battery out of my smoke alarm because I know darn well it's going to go off. I'm not sure what there is to do about that, but it's a design issue, I guess. The Jensen radio is a little bit problematic for me from the standpoint that sometimes it hooks up to my phone for Bluetooth, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why it does when it does. I don't know why it doesn't when it doesn't. And the menu is tough to decipher, I think. So the Jensen radio system, if you get it to work, it's fine. I just can, only get it to work about half the time. Lastly, there's the bathroom sink. It's a fold-up sink. Usually by the time I get to a destination, it's not folded up, it's folded down, and it doesn't drain very well. Not a huge problem, but some people think it is. So those are my dislikes. Really not very many, and when you think about it, the first two, maybe newbie mistakes, right? Don't make the same mistakes that I did. What do I like about it? I love the build quality. I didn't know that within the RV industry, a lot of these things are just not made very well. And you hear all these horror stories, and I've met people while I've been camping the past 2 seasons. Yeah, I bought my brand new camper, and after a month, the slider didn't work. Or after 2 weeks, this broke. Or I got it home, and guess what? Found out that X, Y, and Z didn't work, and I've never even gone camping in it. I didn't have any of that with the Tab 400. Everything worked correctly. The water heater was installed properly. The hot was hot, the cold was cold. All of my electrical outlets and USB ports worked. All the windows open. I didn't have any leaks. All the locks and the latches and the hinges, everything worked appropriately. The one thing I didn't recognize when I got into this is that, unlike the auto industry, if something goes wrong with a component piece, you don't deal with the manufacturer of the RV for the most part, you're dealing with the manufacturer of that piece. So if my solar goes out, if my refrigerator goes out, if my Dometic air conditioning system goes out, I had to fill out a warranty card for every piece of equipment and send it into a different place. That's way different than what we're used to in the auto industry. It'd be nice if the RV manufacturers could figure that one out, but I don't think they will. I love the size of the Tab 400. I was quite concerned about my ability to tow anything because I had never done that before. This is highly maneuverable. I've never gotten stuck in a gas station. I've got it backed into some pretty small campsites, not without trial and tribulation. Let me tell you, the one thing about a small camper that actually makes it difficult to back up is that it reacts almost instantaneously to any movement in that wheel, and I have jackknifed that thing numerous times just getting it into my driveway. It does take a little bit of practice. It's overcomable for sure. Of course, it helps now that my Ford F-150 has that backup trailer pro assist thing, which makes it oh so easy. But bottom line is the maneuverability opens up a whole plethora of places to go, and the height of that, the clearance, means that if I go out west boondocking, I think I'm going to be able to take that camper in places that maybe other people with large fifth wheels or low clearance campers would not be able to go. I'm so excited about that. So for me, size is great. The other thing I learned when I bought my Ford F-150 is if you travel with the window shades up both front and the back, you can actually see right through that camper. I don't need a rear camera. I can see with my rear view mirror right through the back of that camper, so that's sort of an added bonus. Love the heat system. Heats that camper up magnificently, and in my mind it works on propane and shore power. Propane seems to heat up faster. I don't know why, but it works great. I camped, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, in below freezing weather, and I was toasty warm, and none of my lines froze, and I was not winterized. Keeps the compartments nice and warm, so all the heat system works great. I've used the air conditioning once, that worked fine too. Love the bed. Bed is so comfortable with a 3-inch mattress topper. I did put one on there. Here's a little hint if you're going to cut the mattress topper that you buy, because a lot of these campers have odd-sized beds. You use an electric knife, the kind that you carve your turkey with. Cuts it like butter. You get the angles right. Piece of cake. But the bed is great. The other thing you have to remember is that when you've got a self-contained camper like this, where everything is inside, you've got a bathroom, you've got a galley, you've got a bed, you've got a dinette. They're going to have to find a space for the bed. This one is pushed up against the back wall. It means that it's not a walk around. It's going to be hard to make. It absolutely is. And who's ever sleeping in the back against the stargazer window, if they have to get up in the middle of the night, there's only one way to get out of that, and that is to wake your partner up. There is no way to crawl over that person and get to the bathroom without waking them up. That's just the way it is. So those are my dislikes, those are my likes. What would I change? Is there anything? Yes. So the one thing I would definitely change is the microwave. I don't know why I got a microwave. It's a waste of space. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of weight. All it is now is storage, and poor storage at that. I would never get that again, and it only runs off of shore power anyway. The other thing is, and this the jury is out on, I chose the configuration with the small two-way Norcold refrigerator that runs off of battery and shore power, and the larger closet. Works fine for me. I've been a weekend warrior for the most part. I've not had an issue with storage space within that refrigerator. I find that I've experimented with the boondocking a little bit, and that the solar panels that I have adequately replace the power that's used from that. And so I don't have any issue there, and I like the larger storage closet. I can see, however, that if you're going on a longer trip, and I hope to do this, that maybe the larger refrigerator that also runs off of propane, maybe less efficient, but larger space would be better than the smaller refrigerator. I don't know, it's a choice that you have to make. But I'm happy with my choice as it is. So there you have it, my dislikes, my likes, what would I change? Now the big question is, would I recommend the Tab 400 to a newbie camper, or even anybody that was looking to move from whatever they have now into this smaller size camper? And the answer for me is definitely yes, I love it. I've learned a lot about camping. Nothing is hard in that. The winterization, the tank sterilization, setting it up, taking it down, all things that you can learn, hitching, unhitching. Sometimes there's, that's problematic at times, but that's not anything to do with nuCamp. It's just the act of hitching and unhitching. But I love it. I'd highly recommend it. I understand that it is more expensive than other campers in the same size range. But for me, again, it gets back to build quality and the fact that I've not had any issues with it in the 2 camping seasons that I've used it so far. I'm looking forward to many more camping seasons with the Tab 400, many more adventures, and I hope to see you on some of these as well. I don't know when my next video would be. Oh, and by the way, I'm not sponsored by nuCamp. I don't have enough subscribers. Thank you for all the 183 subscribers. That's 183 more than I ever thought I'd have, but I don't make any money off this. This is just my opinion. So anyway, don't know when I'll see you next, but until next time, I know this is a crazy time with the politics and the pandemic and all that kind of stuff, but you know what you got to do. You just got to carry on. Cheers, everyone. Whew, that was a lot of talking.